This is an excerpt from An Important Word Concerning the Occult Forces and Meditation by Billy Eduard Albert Meier. It is also possible, and frequently the case, that people create entities within themselves through their unconscious occult forces that communicate with them, speaking in voices of people who had passed away already months, years, even centuries or millennia ago, without the creators of those inner entities themselves ever having known the dead persons. The reason that these voices can come into existence is based simply on the fact that all humans generate a we form in an unconscious and spiritual bond that deposits its entire knowledge, as a unit and individually, in the ethereal record that files Akashic records of the planet, from where impulses of knowledge, in this case as a voice, are withdrawn by the originator of the inner entities, allowing those to speak through the inner entity by which he is controlled and misled. In very extreme cases, and this has been proven over thousands of years throughout the entire history of humanity, it happens again and again that humans create entities within themselves through their own occult powers, which then control their originator to the last fiber of his own ego, holding unlimited power over him to the point that, slowly but surely, the physical body of the entity creator eventually collapses and becomes destroyed. This can occur especially when a person creates several entities within himself which then alternately rule him or mutually destructively influence one another and destroy the person in the process. What then are these entities the human being creates within himself through occult forces? Very simply, it is this. Such an entity is a form of second ego, that is, a second I. This can develop so powerfully in the originating person, however, that it becomes independent and can, therefore, arbitrarily contact the ego of the originating person. This independence and arbitrariness is based upon the fact, however, that the ego of the created entity is manifested more powerfully than the ego of the originator. This means, then, that through his own labial ego a person permits the second ego entity, which he had created within himself, to take the lead and plays a servile role to it. Thus, it can happen that the second ego, a created inner entity, totally takes over the human being who had created this entity within himself, no matter what the motives may have been for creating it. One of the most frequent reasons for the creation of such inner entities can be found in inferiority complexes of the creating persons. Equally frequent are those reasons which are based on religious mania and fanaticism. The more of such inner entities or egos a labial human being creates within himself, the more dangerous it becomes for him. He quickly loses control over himself and along with it also over the inner entities, which begin to dominate him. In simpler cases the fact still becomes evident that the originator of such inner entities can speak to them and receive answers from them, frequently resulting in lively communication. To link with the inner entity, individuals who carry entities think up conditions of trance or some movements and contortions, exercises of concentration, batting of their eyes, or whatever it takes to bring about the connection. This type of entity carrier is then called a medium, contactee or channeler, as is the case with the American women Chris Griscom and Jane Roberts, author of Seth. Seth, by the way, was a fratricide, who killed his own brother to acquire the power for himself by the faithful and made esoterics and parapsychologists totally ignorant of what the whole situation is all about. They do not have the faintest idea that these individuals are a type of human being with extremely labial egos, out of control with their own ego. The end.